The wedding was a dream, the kind people bookmarked on Pinterest and gushed about on social media. Warm spring air danced through the open glass doors of the reception hall, scented with gardenias and eucalyptus. White fairy lights dangled like stars above the tables, and the golden hour sun cast a gentle hue on the smiling guests. Ethan looked out over the scene with a full heart. He couldn't stop staring at Ava, his wife, his everything, seated across the room in her lace wedding gown, the gentle curve of her belly beneath it glowing with the promise of their unborn daughter. Their wedding had been unconventional, sure. Ava was already 6 months pregnant, and not everyone approved of that. But to Ethan, nothing mattered but the fact that she chose him, loved him, and wanted a life with him. A family. He toasted with his groomsmen, laughing over a childhood story one of them recalled. But even in that moment, he couldn't stop glancing over at her. She looked stunning, radiant, glowing with something more than just pregnancy. Then, in the blink of an eye, it all shifted. "Hey, Ethan," said his younger cousin Jared, nudging him. Ethan turned, mid-laugh. "I think Ava just walked out." Ethan's smile dropped. "What?" She was right there. And then she left. Fast. Looked upset. He didn't wait to hear more. His instincts screamed louder than the music now filling the reception. He pushed past the crowd, weaving through swirls of dancing relatives and laughing coworkers. His chest tightened. Where was she? And then he saw her at the far edge of the venue's garden path, moving quickly barefoot, her long white veil trailing behind her like a ghost's breath in the twilight. "Ava," he called. She didn't stop, not even a glance. The last image he had of her before she disappeared into the darkness beyond the garden lights was her hand pressed protectively over her belly and a shimmer on her cheek that caught the light. Tears. She was crying, and she was walking away. From him, from their wedding, from everything. Panic bloomed in Ethan's chest as he broke into a jog. His shiny dress shoes slipped on the cobblestones, but he didn't care. His thoughts were spiraling. Why would she leave? Why would she cry? What could have possibly gone wrong between their first kiss as husband and wife? And now, as he reached the edge of the garden, something slowed him. Not a physical obstacle. No, it was Ava. She had stopped, just at the far end of the stone bridge that crossed the koi pond. And she turned around. Their eyes met, and for a moment time froze. That look, it wasn't rage. It wasn't confusion. It was pain. Raw, guttural, and something else, something far worse. It was betrayal. His voice caught in his throat. She opened her mouth as if to say something, then closed it again. Then she turned and walked away for good. Ethan stood frozen on the spot, breathless. His heart thumped against his ribs like it was trying to escape. Did she think he had done something? A million thoughts raced through his mind. He pulled out his phone with trembling fingers. A new message from Ava. "I can't do this. I can't pretend. There's something you should know. I'm sorry." He read it twice, then again. Each time, the words made less sense but hurt more. Can't pretend? Pretend what? What did she know? What did he need to know? He texted back in a flurry. "Ava, please. What's going on? Where are you?" No response. He called, straight to voicemail. He swore under his breath and looked around the empty path, praying for a glimpse of white fabric. Any sign she hadn't truly left. But she was gone. Just gone. Then a flash of memory surfaced. Seconds before Ava left, he had looked toward her from across the dance floor. She had just finished greeting a group of relatives. Her phone buzzed. She glanced at it, her face drained of color. Then a tall woman leaned in to whisper something in her ear. "Vanessa." Ethan's stomach turned. Vanessa was trouble. Always had been. Ethan's oldest friend, maybe, but she had never liked Ava. She'd even joked once, drunkenly, that she should have been the one walking down the aisle with Ethan. He brushed it off back then. She was being ridiculous. But now, he remembered that whisper, the way Ava had looked up afterward, almost nauseated. She had clutched her stomach. Then she ran. Was Vanessa behind this? He needed answers, fast. Ava had felt nothing but joy all evening. Until that moment, she had just taken a bite of cake when her phone buzzed in her hand. A text. No name. Just a number she didn't recognize. But the message chilled her to the bone. He's lying to you. Ask him about June 7th. Ava blinked. Her hands trembled. June 7th? Her fingers hovered over the screen, her heartbeat quickening. What's wrong? Tara, her maid of honor, had asked. Nothing, Ava replied with a forced smile. Hormones. She set the phone down and stepped toward the open-air corridor, trying to breathe. That was when she felt the hand on her arm. Vanessa. Tall, elegant, calculating Vanessa. Ethan's childhood friend who'd always been a little too present, a little too comfortable around him. I see you got the message, she said casually, sipping from a flute of champagne. What? Ava asked. Vanessa leaned in, her perfume floral and suffocating. I told him not to lie to you, she whispered. But it's not my place anymore. I just thought you deserved to know the truth. Ava's breath caught. What are you talking about? June 7th. Vanessa smiled. The night before the ultrasound appointment, when he said he was working late. Ava felt her stomach twist. That night. Vanessa tilted her head sympathetically. I'm not saying anything, but you're smart, Ava. You connect the dots. She gently patted Ava's shoulder and walked away, her green dress swaying like a serpent slithering into the crowd. Ava's knees buckled. She clutched the handrail for support. No, it couldn't be true. Ethan had been nothing but devoted, protective, loving. But something about that date gnawed at her. The night before their baby's ultrasound, he'd said he had a late client meeting. Came home at nearly midnight. Tired. Silent. She didn't press. She had trusted him. She should have asked. Now, the doubt was a poison in her veins. Was her entire wedding a performance? Was the baby the only thing tying him to her? She blinked back tears. She had to leave. She couldn't breathe. The ring on her finger felt heavy, mocking. As she passed by the koi pond, she saw her reflection. A beautiful bride, but one with eyes full of questions and a smile that had started to crack. And Ethan? She loved him. God, she loved him. But if what Vanessa said was true, if that message wasn't a lie, she couldn't marry a man who lied to her. She couldn't raise a child in a house built on secrets. As she turned to leave, she glanced back one last time. Ethan saw her. Their eyes locked, her face twisted in pain, and she walked away. Back inside, Ethan scoured the crowd. His tie hung loose around his neck. He couldn't even fake a smile anymore. People asked where Ava was. He brushed them off. He needed air. Out on the veranda, he reread her message for the 100th time. I can't do this. I can't pretend. There's something you should know. I'm sorry. The words clawed at his chest. What was she talking about? What couldn't she pretend? He felt his phone buzz again. This time, a message from an unknown number. June 7th. Ask Vanessa. His jaw clenched. He stormed back inside, eyes scanning the room until he spotted her near the dessert table, flirting with one of the groomsmen like she wasn't the epicenter of a brewing disaster. She didn't see him coming until he was a foot away. What did you say to her? She looked amused. I'm not sure what you mean. You know exactly what I mean. Don't be so dramatic, Ethan. She deserves the truth, doesn't she? There's no truth to tell. Vanessa tilted her head. Is that right? You're spreading lies to sabotage my wedding. She gave a slow, smug smile. No, darling, I'm not spreading lies. I'm just asking questions. The same ones Ava should have asked a long time ago. Why are you doing this? Because she doesn't know you like I do. Before he could respond, she walked away casually as if they'd been talking about nothing more than hors d'oeuvres. His hands balled into fists. He had to find Ava. Now, the storm rolled in fast, thick clouds, sudden wind, and a spatter of rain that quickly turned into a downpour. Ethan didn't feel it. He didn't feel anything but dread and the gnawing sense that if he didn't find her now, something would break forever. The valet hadn't seen her. The event staff didn't know where she went. One of the older guests said she might have walked toward the park across the street. That was enough. He kicked off his shoes and ran. The grass squished beneath his feet as he tore across the lawn and over the road. The rain soaked his dress shirt, his tie flapping behind him. His hair clung to his forehead, and the garden lights blurred into hazy halos. Then, through the veil of rain, he saw her, sitting on a bench under the gnarled branches of a willow tree, her wedding dress a pale puddle around her. Her shoulders trembled. He slowed, walked the final steps toward her, like approaching a scared animal. She didn't look up. I was afraid you wouldn't come, she said softly. I'll always come. She turned to face him. Mascara streaked down her cheeks. Her lips quivered. Is it true? He didn't speak. Were you with someone else on June 7th? He shook his head slowly. No, I was with my brother. Why didn't you tell me? Because it was a surprise. She blinked. A surprise. I met with him to pick up the ring. The first one I bought wasn't right. I wanted the perfect one, so I changed it. Last minute. I didn't tell you because I wanted to do it right. Her eyes searched his face. Then why would Vanessa? Because she's never been happy for us. She wanted me, Ava. Maybe she still does. The silence between them stretched out, full of tension and fear. She finally looked away. I believed her, she whispered, and I hated that I did. But for a moment, I wondered if I was just the mistake you were trying to fix. He knelt before her, ignoring the wet earth beneath his knees. You're not a mistake. You're my beginning. She broke, and he caught her. As the rain let up, they walked together under the canopy of trees. She held tightly to his arm, still shivering. He offered his jacket. She didn't want it. She wanted honesty. I should have told you something, she said. You can tell me now. I ran into Marcus 2 weeks ago. He froze. Where? At the pharmacy. He saw me, knew I was pregnant. Did he say anything? He just smiled, said congratulations. But something about the way he said it made my skin crawl. Why didn't you tell me? Because I thought it was nothing. A ghost. She paused. But then, the message tonight, the way Vanessa whispered it, like she was savoring every word. Ethan's voice was low. You think Marcus sent the message? She didn't answer. She didn't have to. They both knew it was possible. Too possible. Back at the venue, Tara stood at the security station with the manager, reviewing the footage from earlier. There, she said, pointing. Who is that guy? A tall man in a charcoal suit, sunglasses on despite being indoors, walked in around 6:30 p.m. He wasn't on the guest list. He didn't sign the book. But he was there, moving through the crowd, lingering just behind Ava as she took photos with family. He left less than 20 minutes later. Tara's stomach sank. She knew that face. Marcus. She pulled out her phone and texted Ethan. He was here. Marcus. I just saw the footage. Ava sat in the bridal suite earlier that day, her bridesmaids bustling around her. But she stared at her reflection, fingers twisting in her lap. I don't know if I should wear this dress. Tara turned, frowning. Why not? It just feels wrong. like it's not mine. She had dreamed of a simple silk gown. Instead, she was wearing a hand-me-down lace dress from her mother. Classic, traditional, heavy with meaning, but now it felt like a costume. Tara approached gently. "You look stunning." Ava didn't smile. Something poked her from beneath the hem of the dress. A small, hard bump. She reached in and found a folded piece of paper taped to the underside of the lace. It was handwritten. One line. "You're marrying a liar. And the baby might not be his." Her heart ceased. She almost fainted. But before she could process it, the music started. The bridal march. Too late to turn back. Too soon to know the truth. Lila, the quietest bridesmaid, found Ethan just as he and Ava returned to the venue. She looked pale. "I need to tell you something. Both of you." They nodded. "I didn't think it mattered. But Marcus, he showed up at the rehearsal dinner." "What?" Ava's voice cracked. "I saw him standing outside, just watching. I told Vanessa. She told me not to worry. Said she'd handle it." Ethan's fists clenched. Ava's breathing quickened. "She handled it, all right," Ethan muttered. Lila continued. "Then I saw her talking to him behind the catering tent. They were arguing. I couldn't hear everything, but I heard her say something about ruining the wedding and about the baby." Ethan stepped back, stunned. "She told him. I think she helped him plant that note." Ava's knees buckled. Ethan caught her again. The betrayal stung more than rain, more than any ghost of an ex. This was war. Under the arches of the reception tent, now half empty and glistening from the storm, Ethan stood with Ava before the microphone. The music stopped. Heads turned. He cleared his throat. "I'd like to say something," he began. "Actually, we both would." Ava took his hand. "I know rumors have been swirling tonight. Things were said. Things meant to hurt." Ethan looked around. "But this is our truth. Ava is the woman I love, the mother of our child. And anyone who tried to come between us, you failed." There were murmurs. A few gasps. "And if you have questions about June 7th, Ava added, her voice trembling, but strong, "I suggest you ask the person who wrote a message on my wedding dress instead of talking to me like an adult." Someone in the crowd turned to look at Vanessa. She turned pale. "I don't know what you're talking about," she said. Ava stepped forward. "I do, and I'm done letting you manipulate us." Thunder cracked again in the distance. The silence in the tent was heavier than the storm outside. Ethan looked at Ava, then smiled. "So, if no one objects, I think we'll go enjoy the rest of our wedding." And with that, they walked off the stage, hand in hand, unbroken. Not perfect, but real, and still together. Long after the tent had cleared and the DJ packed his gear, Ava sat alone in the bridal suite, staring at the delicate arrangement of flowers she had carried down the aisle. The bouquet, now half-wilted, smelled faintly of jasmine and rosemary. She had stared at it for nearly 20 minutes before she noticed it, a small envelope tucked deep beneath the ribbon binding the stems. Her fingers trembled as she unwrapped it. Inside was a folded sheet of thick paper. One sentence. "If the baby is yours, why were you at the clinic twice last month?" Her chest tightened. That wasn't her handwriting. She had no idea who had written it, but the accusation hit like a hammer. She hadn't been to the clinic last month. She didn't need to go. Her checkup had been scheduled for this week. And Ethan, he never mentioned going to the clinic. Alone. Had he? Ethan stared at the small white envelope in his jacket pocket. He had kept it for 2 weeks. Never opened it. He hadn't wanted to. He had taken the test because of an offhand comment Marcus had made at a coffee shop months ago when he ran into Ethan unexpectedly. It was a cruel seed of doubt, one that had festered. He had submitted the test quietly, ashamed. Not because he doubted Ava, but because he was afraid of what it would mean if she had lied. But now, after the letter in the bouquet, after Vanessa's sabotage, after all of it, he needed clarity. He opened it. The paper inside was clinical and cold, but the final line was unmistakable. Paternity confirmed. 99.99% match. He sank into a chair, overcome by relief. The baby was his. It had always been his, and now he knew who had wanted him to think otherwise. The next morning, they confronted Vanessa at her apartment. She opened the door in silk pajamas, unsurprised. Wow, you two still doing the whole happy couple thing? Ethan stepped forward, holding the paternity result. We know everything. Vanessa didn't blink. Congratulations, Daddy of the Year. Why did you do it? Ava asked quietly. Vanessa's expression soured. Because I was there for him for years. Long before you. Long before this fairy tale. You think you're living. Ethan stared at her, stunned. This isn't about me, he said. It's about Marcus, isn't it? You helped him. She didn't deny it. He wanted to destroy what you had. I just gave him the match. You planted the letter in the bouquet. And the note in the dress. Ava shook her head in disbelief. You could have just told me you hated me. Vanessa's smile twisted. I don't hate you. I just think he deserves someone real. Ethan stepped away, disgusted. You're right about one thing, he said. We are real, and we'll never let you or Marcus near our lives again. That night, Ava stood by the nursery they had started painting weeks ago. The soft yellow walls were only half finished. She held a tiny onesie against her chest. I need to tell you something, she said. Ethan walked in, still drying his hair after a shower. What is it? I wasn't just upset because of the lies. I've been scared since I found out I was pregnant. He moved closer. I thought maybe you were only staying with me because of the baby. He took her hand gently. Do you remember the night we found out? She nodded. I was scared too, he said. But not of you, of losing you. I wanted to do this right. The ring, the proposal, everything. But none of that would matter if I didn't have you. Tears welled in her eyes. I felt like a burden. You're the beginning of everything that's ever made sense to me. She hugged him tightly, finally able to breathe again. News of what happened at the wedding spread. Rumors, speculation, gossip. Some guests pulled away, choosing silence over support. A few stood with them, Tara, Lila, Ava's mother. But others whispered behind screens and in back rooms. They didn't care, because every night they curled up on the couch, her head on his chest, and talked about baby names and nursery wallpaper and Sunday walks with strollers. Love wasn't loud now. It was soft, earned, tested in fire, and still standing. A week later, a package arrived at their doorstep. No note, just a flash drive. Suspicious but curious, they loaded it on Ethan's laptop. It was security footage. Clear as day, Vanessa meeting with Marcus behind the reception tent. She handed him a small paper envelope. He pocketed it, then nodded toward the bridal suite. The footage had a timestamp for 13 p.m. just before Ava changed into her dress. The footage ended with Vanessa laughing as Marcus walked away. The sender's email was encrypted, but Ethan recognized the name attached to the email's signature. The bartender. Apparently, not all bystanders stayed silent. At the wedding after-party, they hadn't shared everything, but now they did. They posted a video, a calm, composed, honest one. They told their story, the texts, the planted notes, the betrayal, the DNA test, the footage. They blurred faces, but names were unnecessary. The truth had a way of reaching the right people. It went viral within hours. Not for the drama, but for the dignity, for the grace Ava showed, for the way Ethan stood by her. And for the baby girl still growing quietly in her belly, Vanessa vanished from social media. Marcus was served with a restraining order. Ethan received letters, some apologizing, others still doubting. It didn't matter. They had nothing to prove anymore. They visited a couples therapist. They went on baby shopping dates. They wrote letters to their unborn daughter, promises of honesty, strength, and love without conditions. One day Ethan asked, "Do you regret any of it?" Ava smiled. "Only that I ever doubted you." He kissed her forehead. "I never stopped choosing you." The delivery came on a rainy morning, the same rain that had tried to drown their wedding. This time, it was a new sound, a newborn's cry cutting through the storm. Ethan held Ava's hand as they looked at the tiny girl swaddled in pink. "She's perfect," Ava whispered. They named her Ilara. Later, they walked her through the same park where Ava had once sat alone in her wedding gown, crying. This time, she wore sneakers, a baby carrier across her chest, and Ethan's hand in hers. Life didn't start in a perfect dress or on a picture-perfect day. Sometimes it started when everything almost fell apart, and you chose to fight for it anyway.